foreign affairs and the ability to influence things on the world stage, the most important priority should be our own freedom within our own borders, and we're losing that. And you can't put a price on that.
You could make contracts with the ex-Commonwealth countries, which are up and coming.
We had that before, and another thing you'll find, if you do get a chance to read this book, is the devastating effect this had on the Commonwealth countries. And in fact, how much cheaper the food was being imported from those countries than it was from the heavily subsidised agricultural sectors of the then European community countries.
I've always thought that there's a problem in that people saying the existence of the nation state is the problem that causes wars. That's something I strongly disagree with. I think as long as those nation states are happy within themselves doing their own thing and are not being expansionist, then there's no specific wars. But from what I can see throughout history, most of the wars is when there's individual nation states that want to take over others. That's the cause of wars. And that's what the European Union is doing, is it's trying to take over various states, but it's doing it through propaganda and finance rather than direct military action. Well, how long will it last before they do start taking military action against specific countries? For example, the Zbigniew Brzezinski, the Grand Chessboard, the American Foreign Policy Advisor, he talks about, in 1997, he was talking about the possibility or the desire of the American establishment to promote a German-led European Union that could be used as a second fiddle global superpower to fight an re-emerging Russia or an increasingly strong China.
Russia's a good example of that, a state created by force against the will of the people, and inevitably it's led to civil war. So you're absolutely right, it won't, it'll decrease more. Remember, the prevention of wars wasn't the real reason or the motivation, it was the pretext. You have to remember that. And of course you ought to remember why the majority of wars were fought. They were fought for freedom. And as for nation states being able to compromise and reach agreements, it's a bit like individuals. That we might have a certain disagreement, but I know that you're also a free human being. You've got the similar needs to me. I can empathise with you, and I know, and I realise there's certain things you're not going to want to do, because it's very easy for me to see things from your perspective. Nation states can do the same thing, ultimately, and they sometimes, where they have to compromise, they do. And more's been achieved through free nations cooperating than but through supranationalism. And remember, if you create this supranational authority that exists beyond the nation states themselves can lose control over it. I mean, you could see this with the United Nations. Some people will see that as getting out of control. I mean, it's almost all pervasive now. It's telling us, for example, whether we should teach sex education in children's schools. Now, how that's an international issue, I don't know, but UNESCO have decided that they should get involved in what children are taught.
I think if China gets too big, economy-wise, I think she's going to beat America.
Well, that's a possibility.
All these countries now which have no technology years ago evolved got this technology to create, weapons. That's mad money around. What will happen when we join?
Sorry, I've got to change the battery here.
Oh, sorry. Got a lot of content there.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, you can just pick it up off this one.
Just do one question, we've got to get out to that.
If we join the common market,
yeah.
Looks like we're going to, because we're not going to have it, I think we don't have a referendum. Will we have to resort to arms to get out of it?
You're talking about the common market, are you talking about the Euro currency, you mean?
Yeah.
I hope not, because I think the majority of people are against it, and I very much hope not. And I think all we need to do is keep pressing the government to hold a referendum. And they may campaign for us to stay in, and they'll put forward all the lies they can, but we have to counter that, and we have to simply put forward the truth. Inevitably, they'll outspend us, they'll try every tactic they can, they'll smear people, they'll resort to ad hominem attacks, they won't stick to the real issues. But we have to fight them.
Another referendum, and another one with the Irish.
All these opt-out votes,
The thing is, though, they couldn't do that in this country because we wouldn't stick for it. The Irish, there's only 2 million people there, so it'd be easy overrode then. But in this country, we could say no, we're not.
And all they got to do is promise people different things, and they'll just, yeah, okay.
We can say no, but I think ultimately they're not going to invade. They're not going to invade, are they, to make us stay in? I think ultimately, if the majority of people want to leave, we will be able to leave. So I hope that the answer is no. Anyway, I hope that we don't resort to arms. But
it makes you think if there is rights, as said, will the police be on our side or
wrapping up.
Give a conclusion.
Yeah. Right. No.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you everybody. This is Liverpool UKIP. I think that concludes our brief discussion. I hope everybody's enjoyed it.
Right.
Hot